And like that, it hit me. What other industry do I know? I know the lawn care and landscape industry. I know it's a huge industry. I know people build huge companies in it. And I just so happen to have a weed eater, a mower, and a blower for my own lawn. I'm gonna start a lawn care business. Woo! Let's do this. Everyone, I'm Jacob Godar, and my channel helps contractors deliver and clients experience a luxurious everyday life through property transformation. Today, we are going to take a spin back, and we're gonna kind of talk about my journey from where I really started out to what I'm doing now, running what's gonna be a multi-million-dollar company this year and starting other companies, getting into real estate. So if that interests you, if that kind of sounds like some of the path that you're interested in being on, listen to this whole thing because it's been a really, really cool journey so far. I grew up in Jacksonville, Illinois. I always lived in the country, and it really pushed me, I feel, to be creative, because when I was really, really young, there wasn't ever anyone around. I lived on 35 acres of woods. There wasn't go walk down the street to your friend, because to get to our next neighbor, it was a half mile down a gravel road. That was just my dad's best friend. And there was no kids for, several miles, I would say. Got into dirt bikes super young, rode all over God's green earth, figuring out how to fill that time. And it really allowed my mind to what I feel is like kind of escape and be creative. I had to do so much make-believe stuff when I was younger because I didn't have anyone right there with me to kind of do stuff with. I wanted to have a job the second I could start working. So I know I did Burris, which is like, if you're from the Midwest, you know what that is. It's detasseling. I think I did that when I was like 14 or 15. But the second I was 16, I was racing motorcycles, and it really pushed me to I knew that if I was going to keep racing, I had to start making money to be in that sport. My dad wasn't going to let me do it and not work. So started off in a grocery store, did that for 2.5 years, moved up really well there for what you could do being in high school. Go to school all day. I'd work till like 10 at night most of the nights and blow off a lot of the stuff that happened in school because I really didn't care about school at all. Wanted to get a better paying job. I served a 6-month sentence at Walmart. I worked in my first landscape company in Jacksonville, Illinois, and it was a great experience. And sometime along this, even before I got my driver's license, I always knew I wanted to start a business. I remember back before I could even drive, I wanted my mom to take me in and take me to something at I can't even remember, Chamber of Commerce or something in town that was talking about how to make a business plan and how to start a business, because I always wanted to know how to start a business and take it right back up to the landscape company. I worked here for 2.5 years as well at this landscape company. I started off mowing, moved into a landscape foreman, moved up very quickly in the company. I don't know if the owner still remembers this, but when I was younger, he said, I was one of the fastest people. I was moving up faster than anyone else in the company at that time. I was like 17 or 18. I was getting bumped up really quick, and I was surpassing people that were a lot older than me, and it put a lot of pressure on me, but I believe it was good. This is around the time where I was super heavily racing. I'm 17 or 18, and I have to tell people that are late 30s, 50s what to do. The owner of that business was, he was challenging to work for, but it helped shape me. So many people hated working for this guy growing up, and I didn't mind working for him at all because it was a no BS deal. Like, you kick butt and do your job, he liked you. You half-ass and don't want to work, he hates you. Like, it was very black and white. You knew exactly how it was. It was very transparent. So I worked at that job for a long time, and as I was racing, I realized, I really kind of was getting into cars. I had a little IROC that I was restoring. If anyone knows, that's like old Camaro, I believe. Heck, I can barely even remember anymore. I was restoring it in my garage, and I was self-teaching myself how to do body work, and I got really intrigued. I painted the car metallic gray with black racing stripes, built 4-bolt main, small block Chevy 350 all by myself, did all these different things, started putting it together, got it where I could drive it down the road, but it didn't really work right. There's so many things that I know now from being in the automotive industry that I didn't know then. It was just another little phase of me wanting to learn how to do stuff myself, self-teach myself, and that's what I've always been really good at, was teaching myself. In the racing, I had people that were in the body shop industry that I knew and had become friends with, and that's how I shifted into wanting to start going into that field. I moved from Jacksonville to Springfield to get into body work. I wanted to learn how to paint cars, wanted to learn how to fix dents, I wanted to learn how to take something that's destroyed, put it back together, bend it, cut it in half, put it back together, weld. Loved welding. Always have loved welding forever. That takes me into the bodywork field. I worked at my first job in bodywork for 2.5 years. I got away from that and got into a race shop for a small time, and then got into the body shop that I spent the end of my days doing body work in. And it was the best shop here in Springfield. I moved up really well there. I achieved a lot. And in my time, I met some really, really cool people. And I had the first time in an industry that I felt like in a short period of time, I knew more people in that industry and in this town than I ever had before. We're kind of like a network for me. And during this period, I really felt like there was a roof on my potential, because I saw the guys that were 40 and 50, and I knew, sorry, I can't get my hat the way I want it to be perfectly centered. But I saw the guys that were in their 50s and 40s, and I saw where the limit was, and I didn't want that limit to be there, I guess. And maybe that's what started the process of, I was looking for something I could build. I wanted to start a body shop because I know that industry really, really well, and it intrigued me. I wanted to start something on my own and figure it out. I'd actually found a body shop to buy. I remember my girlfriend at that time, I was going over it with them. I was trying to figure out, where am I gonna get all this money? How am I gonna make this work? I'm writing a business plan, I'm doing the numbers. And this is before I was really big on doing business numbers and trying to figure out any of this stuff. I got cracking down on it. I did a walk through the shop, and I looked at what I was getting, and I looked at the overhead, and I'm like, man, that just doesn't even make any sense. How am I gonna start a business with this much overhead and that much risk and have to borrow all this? I just couldn't make it make sense on paper, and that kind of faded away. And in that time, I bought my first house, and I'd refinished the whole garage so I could paint cars all night, because I always wanted to make my own money. Back to, I wanted to do stuff on my own, because I thought it was so cool to not have to have a job to feed you the work for you to get an hourly wage. I like to produce the work on my own and make my own money. But I quickly got burnt out from working on cars all day, painting all night, all weekend. I mean, it was all I did. And there was the small transition of, what else do we do? I was like, there's gotta be something else I can do that would be fun, that I could start a business in. And like that, it hit me. What else? What other industry do I know? I know the lawn care and landscape industry. I know it's a huge industry. I know people build huge companies in it. And I just so happen to have a weed eater, a mower, and a blower for my own lawn. I'm gonna start a lawn care business. And that's all it took. I don't know why I got so revved up. Maybe it's just because it's how I've always been. I get so obsessed with anything I want to create that find a way. If you talk to my dad's best friend, he'll always say, he's like, anything you do, you don't stop until you figure it out. You don't stop till someone says yes. You never stop. I've been this way since as long as anyone remembers about me. I always wanted to push through to get what I wanted to get to. And he said the same thing about me going to Florida now. He's like, well, same way you've always been. You're gonna make it work. You're gonna make it happen. You tried before, it didn't work. You're not gonna stop. You're gonna do it again, and you're gonna make it work. And that's kind of how this whole thing started. Started walking the streets, knocking on doors. Our very first client we ever had, we had him until he died. He died, I think, last year. It was very sad. He's an awesome, awesome client. I think a couple of the clients we had till last year over some stuff of selling properties or different things happened. It's crazy that I was just driven, and I can't explain why, to just go out there and start walking the streets and try to get this work. In 2014, I did all this, I got it rolling, and I only did like $20,000 in revenue. I knew right then, I'm like, I'm gonna make this work, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna quit my job. I had the best boss in the world, and he inspired me because I saw what he had created, and he like made it okay for me to want to go and become more. So he really drove me to kind of wanting to start on my own, because I saw what he had done. I knew that with all this happening, and in that first year this going so well, that I was gonna put in my time. The 3 months ahead, I said April whatever 1st, I'm quitting. I'm gonna start my own business. I had like 25 lawns. I think I was trying to figure out how $500 a week, not including expenses, was gonna make it all work for me and everything. And we just went a million miles an hour. Did everything I could do to grow the business. Time in the middle of the next season, I figured out, like, gotta have a website. Started reading and looking at stuff. Gotta have a website. Gotta grow the company faster. Gotta get more income. You know, we went from that 20,000 16,000, something like that, I think, to like 100 and something thousand in the second season, and just keep spooling it up and spooling it up. Massively, I can't talk today, I'm saying massively obsessed with hanging out with the kids or doing whatever it is that is really drawing me in. I just get sucked into it head over heels, and I think that's a lot of what takes people from here to there if they excel at something, is the obsession that the passion of success drives. Like those little wins you start piling up, and that progress, that journey starts to actually propel you once you get the wheels spinning a little bit. It went from all that to that 108-ish thousand, and then it kept doubling up, 250, 400 or something like that, and then before you know it, we broke $1 million, and then we're gonna break 2 million. The goal is 3.5 million between here and Florida. We're starting a different location in Florida. I'm now more than ever getting involved in real estate. We've got a flip property going on currently. We have a rental property. I'm turning my actual house into a rental property, and I'm buying back my first house ever and turning it into a rental property as well. I'm also very excited about the Florida market and its real estate. There's a lot of potential once we kind of dip back down some and we're not at like market highs. I became more interested than ever in the stock market. Like, finances just drive me like crazy. Everything is so interesting, and this whole journey, everything always interested me the whole way. Every piece of the process was so interesting that it made me obsessed. So I'd become obsessed with this little thing, I'd figure it out, and then I'd move to the next thing that I validated and thought, that's another good point to add to, and I become obsessed with it. Right now I'm obsessed with battery stick equipment and solar panels, because I feel like that's another interesting thing in our market that can set us apart and make us different. My journey has been awesome. I've loved it so much, and I haven't even really told you guys about the best part, which that was the family that I created along the way of doing all of this. I found out we were gonna have our first child right before I quit my real job and started a business. Since then, it's went from 1 kid to 3 kids and a crazy amazing life. And I make these videos to share with you what I'm doing, what I'm building, the risks I'm taking, the things I'm learning, so hopefully other people can make fewer mistakes, build things faster, and realize they can achieve anything in whatever industry or field that they want to go into. I truly am inspired to inspire others and help others be more every day. If you stuck around to the end of this, leave it in the comments. Hopefully that you inspired me, but leave it in the comments that I made it to the end. That was just a brief go over the top, because I could talk for hours and hours and hours about what has happened to me, the challenges, the ups, the downs. The roller coaster ride's been fun, and I can't wait for the new exciting things it's gonna bring me. See ya.